This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Nice buck. Thanks. Thanks for supporting.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Okayest Hunter podcast. If you're a first-time listener, welcome to the shit show, and I apologize for swearing out of the gate. If you're a long-time listener, I don't know why you came back, but we're glad to have you. And we're coming at you from the Okayest Hunter podcast studio, presented by none other than Half Rack. Make sure when you go to Half Rack's website, this is a problem. Half-rack.com. Yeah. And also, like, if you're searching it, you got to type in the word hunting because you're going to find like a weight bench or something.
Yeah.
Just helping people out. There's no code yet, and we can probably blame someone over there.
Yeah, it's probably our fault.
But there will be, and when there is, it'll be OHP. So likely a 15% discount for our listeners. They have a lot of fun accessories, practical accessories. I don't know, gear with a soul. I think it's how you guys describe it.
Yeah.
Fine gear, fond memories.
That's exactly it.
By the way,
more every year.
Who you're hearing talk is Josh Dutton with Half Rack. He's in the studio hanging out with us tonight. He just decided to stop by.
It's pretty local.
Yeah, we couldn't turn him down. We're also brought to you by a bunch of other companies. So,
Careful.
Latitude Outdoors. That post that I was talking about, last week, that was going viral, I think is almost at 1 million views now. And the drama has subsided. Yeah, that's why. My bad.
There we go.
There's your volume, buddy. You can turn it however is comfortable for you. You can have at it.
Thank you.
So, Latitude Outdoors, use code OHP, 25%, I think 20 or 25% off of accessories.
It's 25 now, I guess.
Yeah, I should probably see what Corey sent me.
What the hell?
A couple more sips, then we'll revisit that percentage.
Someone just messaged us
I'm sure they don't care.
like 2 days ago, like, hey, this discount isn't working. I was like, oh, what? Hey, guys, this discount. They're like, oh, well, New Year, it expired. So at least I know one person has tried to buy something from Latitude since the New Year has turned over.
That's good. They got good stuff.
But they do. Yeah. And they got like some innovative stuff. They had the ATA thing they won.
That new
with the carbon.
The carbon speed sticks.
What do you mean those plastic sticks?
Yeah, right. They're 3D printed. I wouldn't trust that with over
Don't
a fork.
let the squirrels chew on the rope.
Watch your dental floss.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, there it is. You just let one slip.
Whoops.
Spartan Forge, good friends of ours. They just did they just slaughtered a bunch of does with Seek One. They have this venison donation program. They kill a bunch of does, and they got this huge program that gives back to local communities that need food, like shelters and food pantries and all that stuff. So
cool. Just
overall pot. And they also just did their veterans hunts because I think they raised $2,500 for a veteran organization. You guys are taller than me in these stools. It's freaking me out. And
give me my moment.
Why'd you shatter it?
Vector Custom Shop. I can just do this all day. We're just going to talk about sponsors all day. The arrows above Greg's head. Every time I come down here after a week, they fall. I think it's because my kids jump around so much that it rattles them off of the antlers above you.
as long as the mount doesn't fall.
And then when I get this one mounted, I have the arrow. Oh, really? The whole mount?
That? Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. I would have a heart attack.
Yeah. It wasn't pleasant.
I also have to get a frame for Derek's Fred Bear drawing. You still get an inquiry about that from like random social posts?
Oh yeah, I'm selling them slow and steady.
Are you bringing them to trade show or what are you doing?
I'm running pretty low, but I can bring what I got.
You should bring
a handful.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt.
I'll bring what I got.
Okay. You can do whatever you want. I wasn't sure if you're like working on something new or if you're going to do that.
I actually have a new commission. So when we were at the open season, there was the gentleman from down the hall who had a booth there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe his name is Trevor or Travis Biggs. He runs an outfit in
Biggs.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Yep. And he bought one and let me hang it up all week, but said when he leaves, he wanted that one. And I think he worked that out with you.
Yeah.
And I've had like 3 people who've hunted with him this fall and saw that and contacted me. So one of the guys I'm doing a different Fred Bear drawing for right now. He just like texted a week ago and he's like, hey, I got a spot. I got this quote. Can you draw me up this Fred Bear? And it's nothing eases your mind like shooting a bow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on one right now for him.
That's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Shit, I should commission you for something.
Talented.
Thank you. That's a good response.
It's nice.
Wow.
That's what normal people
What
do.
the hell?
Yeah.
None of us expected that. So Vector, you gotta get some Vector arrows. You gotta replenish. Go shoot your bow, and I'm about to bring my 3D target block, my target block down to the base on the other side of this wall. I got a little shooting lane there. It's not 20 yards. It's like 15.
It's plenty. It's plenty to at least get a warm up.
It's the therapy. I need the therapy session.
It's repetition and keeping those the miles on the muscles.
I shot my bow for the first time since like probably December.
Yeah.
Last week. It was terrible.
I haven't shot mine since I got that buck because I was like, well,
yeah, done.
I don't need to do anything now. That's how I felt.
I get that for you.
No doubt.
Oh man,
it was a stud. Congrats. I don't think I've actually seen you or talked to you about that buck.
No, we've talked about it a little bit here and there, but that's it.
You're gonna have to rename the show.
That's what everyone keeps saying. Yeah, no, we're still okay.
Hey, I lived up to the name, so
yeah, me too. All I shot was a doe.
I shot 5 does.
I know. I saw that you texted me the one night. Where you just said
I'm like, dude, I need a gambrel because I'm out.
You needed
room.
like 8 gambrels. It's like a meat locker.
Dude, that one doe between 9 and 11 years old.
What?
Oh, that's right.
DNR sent me back because I sent it in because there's so many deer in there. I'm like, well, I might as well help the DNR out and at least give them some information, see what they say.
And you killed her.
I knocked her down. The other one was between 4 and 5. Both CWD negative.
Just think of what she saw. 9 years old.
9 years old. And potentially, if she gave birth to twins almost every year, that's almost 20 deer. Yeah, that's almost 20 deer that she gave birth to.
She was teaching those offspring. This field right here, you can feed in with no trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, it was gun season?
Oh, totally was. Yeah.
And this is how I live to be 100 in deer years.
Dead. Yeah. Yeah,
Good
that was.
Have you had her yet? Have you eaten any of it?
Oh yeah, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you post those on Go Wild? Because that's the last one I didn't talk about.
I didn't post them as trophies. I just posted pictures. Yep. Shot another 2.
Can you? You can post it as a trophy. I wonder. You get more points for trophies, which means you get more discounts.
I don't.
You can buy half rack on Go Wild, can't you?
You can absolutely.
Look at that. Booyah. Do you want your discount? Go to Go Wild. Use OHP. You'll get 10% right now at least.
Sure. It's that. At least that's there.
We got a back door.
Yeah.
We'll
get that fixed.
So Josh, tell us about what you brought. Some stuff here for show and tell. You got the meat lug, which we did a little clip about. They're all over, yeah.
There it is.
So
new meat lug, and then I got another new one here.
What's special about the meat lug that is better than or different than other soft coolers?
Well, I mean, it's designed specifically for hauling meat. I mean, it's waterproof 100%. You can see the zipper on here too, so you can take it on airlines if you're just hunting out of state or if you drive a little bit for your hunting spot. It's just a very convenient way to put your meat in it. So we've tested this thing all the way from California to somewhere out east. I think it was Virginia or whatever. But yeah, I mean, we shot a doe. I put the doe that we shot this year, every bit of her in there. So
sweet
3-year-old deer.
This one right here.
Yeah. Well, not.
And it doesn't
one,
smell.
There's another one. No. Well,
like
that's
Derek's
a great
bear
thing.
story.
Like, you look at the inside, and you can wash that out. Just a little bit of bleach water, and you're good to go. So if you brine turkeys, if you do that, it's awesome. So just, honestly, it's just a better mousetrap in regards to just being able to get your meat around. So
it doubles as a brine bag.
Sure. Put your turkey in there and brine it, pheasants, whatever. So there's a lot of good things that you can come from this. The cool thing about it is it's going to retail for like around 150, 160 bucks.
Which is amazing compared to anything else in that class, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. Because you go with like a Yeti and you're paying like $600 or something for.
Yeah, they're a little bit more expensive. And I mean, honestly, for what it's made out of, it's very comparable. And you're going to have, just this quality of a product with this one as well. So with a lot less money.
Didn't TJ said some people at the trade show were coming up with other names for it?
Loin lug,
loin locker, or something like that.
There's all kinds of different ones. Like we were gonna do. Yeah, we got a hold. Yeah, there's some of them
can't be mentioned right now.
Well, I mean, just like everyone's like, how many? Like the most common question. So like I've been toting this thing around for a month now, and everyone's like, how many beers you fit in that?
But this is
pack. I mean, I could get a 30 pack of Busch Light, and they're no problem, man.
Yeah, with room to spare. Because you got what I heard is that there's a bigger version of this that's going to come to market.
There is.
This is the sample product.
Well, this one actually I think is this is the smaller carry-on version. So this one is actually
that's still going to be in production. There's just going to be an additional one.
Well, I think the one that we're actually going to production with is a little bit longer than this, but it should still make carry.
And I heard that was to accommodate ice plus deer.
Ice plus deer. Yeah.
So I think you could probably do 230 racks in that one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm willing to help you test if you need help.
I had all your hats in here and I got a case of beer in here. So
I was wondering where that beer came from. I was like, we didn't have that in the fridge.
I just pulled it out. Yeah.
In the old OKS Hunter koozie.
All the goodies.
So we're excited about that one. I mean, it's been received really well. So I think we're excited about it. Should be in store July, August timeframe.
Okay, good to know. People have been asking.
Yeah,
like literally. I mean, you probably getting it. Obviously, you're getting it too. But we were getting some posts like, when is this going to be available? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, July.
Keep
August.
your eye out. You know.
Yeah, we've got
it'll get announced.
4 or 5 of them that are around. I don't even know if it's that many, to be honest, that are being tested and taken to trade shows. It's trade show season right now. So
this thing will be hot on a retail storefront.
Oh yeah,
floor. Like you walk across that, you're buying it. Yeah,
the looks you get when you're taking it through an airport, you either get the guy that's like, dude, that's awesome, and like wants to go through it, and then you get the other one. They're like, is there meat in there for real? Not right now, but there will be.
Yeah, I got my deer in here.
Yeah,
is that
you want to say hi?
Yeah. She was 9.
There's no eyes.
She was 9.
She gave birth to 20, 30.
Lots of little.
The whole population in my town. What a whore.
That's
Grandmama was a whore.
Probably not how you convert a lot of anti-hunters.
No, not so much.
Just lugging
gotta be a little
around.
more
small talk in the airport.
Yeah, I mean, you do. I honest to God, like the last trip I was just down in Phoenix and I brought it back, and yeah, I've got probably 3 or 4 people that were like, what's that about? So, that's always a good thing. People are interested in it. That
absolutely.
means people want it. So It was awkward. I had to make the stewardess take pictures of me putting it in an overhead because when we did a bunch of videos and stuff when we were at ATA and like all the Instagram posts and everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna fit in an overhead? Are you gonna fit on an airplane?" So I'm like, watch it, So I had to take my phone and take a bunch of pictures of me. Oh yeah, she was like, "Is there meat in there?" I'm like, "No," but it was still fun to
It's just a joke. It just says meat because it's funny.
She's like, "Can you put meat on a? Can you carry meat on?" I'm like, "I was going to ask you that." I'm like, "I don't see why not." I mean,
they're going to write new policies because of you guys now.
Hopefully,
Southwest and be like, by the way, there's no meat. Is that a person?
If it gets to that level, that's good. We're
how do you get that through TSA? Right. That's a good freaking quote. Like, sir, we got to check your bag. Don't open it. Don't open it.
They're not really prepared to answer that question yet. The one guy that I asked when I was getting on, he's like, "I don't see why not." So we'll see. But
you brought your dog on here. That's technically meat.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Actually,
yeah, but it's all sealed, so it's not going to leak or anything like that. So fish for your fishing trip.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're into that, I get the cryptic text messages now about fishing equipment.
Hey man.
Oh, is that what?
I'm just trying
what
to plant.
About?
I'm just trying to plant the seed, but
I don't need anything else to do.
Yeah, that's a fun topic. I'll have to bring that up at some point. Craig started a fishing podcast. He told me he's not going to come here anymore. I'm sorry. I'm a little concerned about it.
You just need to chill out.
Fair warning, Eric. I don't know if I can do the deer hunting one. We're airing his laundry right here.
Wrong.
So you guys need a minute? Just talk about this.
No, first off, I said it might be a chance that it's going to be less often than
he did say that, yeah. But I just telling you what I heard.
He just went to the extreme like a jag.
I was like, my best pal.
Shit.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah, deep cut my ass.
Greg wants the OKS Fisher podcast launched today or last night or something.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm better at that than I am hunting, so it's a better fit for me.
Well, then I don't know why we're calling it OKist.
God's honest truth.
You got to stay here. You got to stay here to keep this title of OKist.
World-renowned fisherman podcast.
Not world-renowned at all.
Great Lakes, maybe.
You're talking pretty big before that, but not putting any more fish on the wall. You got too many fish on the wall.
No, I don't have. I have one fish on the wall, and that was probably too many to begin with.
So I barely fish. I caught my first fish for the ice in probably 10 years, 2 weekends ago.
That's fun, huh?
What was it?
Thank you. It was a northern.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Maybe 18 inches.
It's fun.
I got to be the one that pulled it up. No one else wanted to, everyone else was back up on shore, and they're like, "Oh, that flag's up," and I'm like,
"It's the far one.
I'll go get it."
Send him.
Send him.
So, hunting. I don't know. How did your season? You got a doe.
But yeah, my season was rough.
You're here in southeast Wisconsin, right? Ish.
Yeah. So I hunt up here and then up in northern Wisconsin too for whitetail. But I started out in North Dakota this year. Western North Dakota for mule deer. The draw is in either or, so you can kill a mule deer or whitetail. It's an awesome tag. It's an awesome spot to go. We saw a ton of deer, and I missed a giant full velvet, beautiful mule deer at like 57
What happened?
yards.
What do you think happened?
I suck.
All right.
I mean, I could sit here and be like, oh, the windage was off or my.
Well, I don't freaking know. Like, what did you do with it? Like my rubber freaking thing came undone.
No,
whatever that was called.
Slapped you in the face.
Yeah, my peep rubber.
You know why your rubber coming off?
Now the rubber was on.
At full draw. My rubber snapped.
I just missed. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, we were glassing out farther and he popped up at like within 200 yards of us. And I tried making a creep on him. I didn't try. I effectively made a creep on him. Came around the hill, came up, and he was like, when I first saw him, maybe 50 yards, ducked back down, got some decent cover, and he was 57 yards. I ranged him like 3 times and just went under him, just missed.
That's still
you let it rip. That's a far,
yeah.
yeah.
Man, I mean,
it's different out there, though, right?
Well, it's not even that. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like I was out of breath or anything. I was like, picked the spot, just missed, and I did go back, I guess, in my defense, like that was probably midweek. So I'd been dragging my bow around and beating it up pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't shooting it as much as I should be, like going back and shooting at camp or whatever after. And when I went back after I missed it, my sight was all jacked up. So it could have been from drag through whatever and just beating the hell out of it for a week that I missed it. Makes
I've wondered about that kind of stuff, like that ragweed shit you dragged us through early season.
Yeah, dude,
I'm like, my bow, I'm surprised I hit anything with it after that.
Well,
it stole an arrow from me, that shit.
I shooting the same thing for deer, like even local, like, you pull your bow up and it gets hung up on whatever.
Yep.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah, you got to check it. Because I fall in the same thing, man. I just put it back in the case and go back. And the next time I go out, I don't think anything of it. But the first time I shoot in a little league that's on Thursday nights, and the first time I went out and shot, like, not a bad shot. I'm not a good shot, but I'm, capable, right?
Yeah.
So we're shooting 5-spot, and I'm like, well, all over, like, not even like, I'm like, what the hell? And like everyone that's on the line with me is like, what's wrong with you? I'm like,
yeah, holding up to that last name of yours all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, that was even before we started drinking. So I mean, that's the problem. I went and shot it like, I don't know. It took me like 3 or 4 rounds to get it dialed back in, but it's just from beating the hell out of it, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was. It's just the pin kind of moves around a little bit. And
pin or rest. I had, believe it or not, after I caught the edge of that small sapling, when I shot at that buck, I went in. I'm like, all right, we got to figure out what's going on. So I'm shooting in my bow, and it's consistently hitting high into the right and high into the right. And I'm going, something's wrong. Either I glanced it off a tree, or when I laid it down too hard, it must have just moved it a little bit. It was the rest.
Yeah.
So it was the rest must have just loosened up, and I haven't touched that rest since I installed it. It had been money shooting right down the middle, but you got to shoot it more often than what you think.
I guess if you're like my takeaway from this year, it was you got to shoot it more.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is I'm not great on my equipment because I dick around with a lot of different stuff. Like I'll change out sights because I get a different sight that's sent to me or whatever. I'm going to play around with it and I'll throw that on there, and then I'll try different arrow setups. And next year I'll just going to be like more consistent. Be like, this is what
that's fine with the podcast studio. Changing stuff all the time, trying this stuff out, trying that stuff out. Nobody's sending me anything, but I'm spending a lot of money. But then with my bow, I'm like, don't touch it. And Greg's like, you should buy a new bow. I'm like, oh, I should, but this one.
Well, that's the other.
I know it.
Too. And listen, I'm a junkie, man. I'm a gear whore. Like I like stuff.
I've heard gear junkie, but I've heard gear whore or gear slut.
This is the next level.
Don't steal it from me.
This is the third time. This is a drinking game. Every time someone says whore,
he's a meat locker and gear whore over here.
I got a new bow. I don't know. I think I got it in September, and there's nothing wrong with the bow I was shooting before. It shoots great, fast.
What did you have, and what do you have now?
So I had I'm going to have to remember the Carbon Spider Hoyt, which I had for a while, which is an older bow. And I've gotten different bows that literally I've just kept in the boxes. I like that Carbon Spider so much.
I used to have one of those and loved it.
Awesome bow. Couldn't replace it. Like I literally had like 3 or 4 bows that I tried, and I'm like, I like this one. So I just stuck with it. And then I got a Matthews last year, the V3X. And I was like, I'm going to mess around with this. I'm going to commit to it. So I like there's a few things. I like the wall and like how hard it sits. And I liked everything about it. Just felt good.
It's a nice bow.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I'm making the switch. I'm moving to this. And I shot well with it. I was comfortable with it until I airmailed one over a mule deer in North Dakota, and then I was like, give me my Hoyt back. That's not the case. It wasn't the bow's fault. It was all my fault. Because like 3 weeks later, I pinwheeled a doe at 20-something yards and smoked her. So it was just
that probably felt good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it felt really good.
Get your confidence back.
It would actually. It didn't feel good. I'm lying to you. Because like, honest to God,
was she 8 years old?
No, she wasn't.
I shouldn't have shot the 8-year-old.
I just shoot average does.
Not a trophy doe hunter, are you?
I mean, really, an 8-year-old doe is a bit of a trophy. That's a smart old lady.
I let those good breeders live.
No, man.
So much
they're
flack.
washed up by then.
Yeah, you do. You do that with the fish, though. You let the big giant blue.
Did she have dentures in or what? Like, how did that work?
She had no teeth left.
She's just gumming it.
That's why the DNR said, well,
that's why she's breeding so well.
She's 9, 10, or 11, but we're going to give you a 3-year range. And
like, honestly, that deer's dead probably this winter.
Yeah.
Dead deer walking.
It is a big, I mean, looking at it, it was the first deer to come out on the field. I'm watching it, and there were 2 other ones coming behind it. And then there was a 4th one, and that one just was like the bravest of the bunch. It's just like, yeah, nobody's gonna mess with us out here. We're fine. Well, I'm out there with a 300.
Shot them all.
300 Win Mag.
1, 2.
Yeah, I got 3 shells. We're good. But yeah,
you could have gave me more time on the Gambrel and Hoist.
Yeah, I know.
Been more prepared.
I think he needs one because he's been using his playground in the backyard. To hang deer. My wife's like, if you do that, we're gonna have a problem. I'm like, what? It looks like actually a really good idea.
Yeah, but like, think about this. So I'm just using a regular tie down strap, like a pull strap, not a ratchet strap. So I'm launching it over, I'm hooking it up, and then pulling the tie down strap like with the deer, like it's just straight 90-degree friction.
There's no release.
It doesn't work. So then I'm like, dear wife, like, hey, can you come pull this strap? As I'm like, lifting the doe. I'm like, pull harder, pull harder. And then we did that like 3 times this year.
He's out back with the car.
She's out there with you going, I hate you.
Yeah.
Like, why does he do that?
Give me your address. I'll fix that problem.
That would be amazing.
You don't need to do that.
That'd be amazing.
I want the swivel seat bucket thing.
I have a bunch of them at home, and I was going to bring some, but I didn't.
That's okay.
Well, even that little tripod seat's looking pretty nice just to be able to toss in a blind.
We got a new one that I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
That's actually like a folding seat that has like the bag storage in it, but it's got a rest on it.
Okay.
And it's really nice.
Those are great for ice fishing too.
Yeah.
How are the feet on it? Are they wide foot pads?
Yeah, the foot pads are just the standard.
Okay.
But it's a heavier base, so you're not going to like bend it or, even I can sit on it, and I'm a pretty big human, and I don't mess with it. It works really well. So.
Is that a tripod one you said?
Well, we have a tripod one that is out there. We've sold that for maybe 2 years. It's great. I mean, it's easy storage. You can use it for in a blind or whatever. But we just wanted to beef up one and get one that's a little bit bigger. The 2 other guys that are part of this, like me and one of the other owners, we're pretty heavyweight guys. So we're like, we need something bigger.
I know my dad uses those. It's like they'll dig into the ground in the soft earth in the wild loosing area.
I was about the bigger feet.
See, the thing that the tripod stand is good. Like we used it a couple of times duck hunting, my brother and I, and it just sinks in the mud, and it's not stable enough for that kind of thing. So we're like, we need something a little bit bigger than what that is. So that's why we came out with that. So that'll be available in July too.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. So July is the time to pay attention.
Well, that's just kind of that's how things
the product
happen,
cycle
like stuff. Yeah, we've got 30.
Who does your product design, engineering stuff? Because like some of the things you guys release are innovative. It's not just some of it's like a mousetrap, like you said, it's an improved mousetrap, but some of it's like a new thing.
Yeah, I mean, half the stuff, like we really tried it. So the theory that we came out with is we wanted to have enough to build out an assortment for dealers. Like we're very, very dealer centric. We want to support dealers. We want people to have a nice little brand statement that they can make with Half Rack. So we had to have like the key items, like your game bags, your bow ropes, your bow hangers. But even our bow hanger is kind of unique because it's got a 1/4-20 thread on it. You can put a GoPro camera on it, Ozonics, so it's a little bit different than what you see that's out there. And the difference for me is like when we were making it, I'm like, it's got to be sharp. Like, cause that's the thing that annoys me more than anything is like any gear hanger, any bow hanger, you use it once and it's dull.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I need it to be sharp. So I think, I'll claim it. It's the sharpest one that's on the market.
That's the sharpest one on the market.
But that really does make a huge difference because anyone who's ever bought one from like any, like a Walmart or a Fleet Farm.
Fleet.
HME ones, dude.
Yeah.
I swear the first half inch is just one solid hunk of metal.
Yeah.
I've never been able to get it in a tree, no matter how hard I'm freaking tomahawk chopping it in there, and I'm sweating from trying to put the bow hanger in. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's beefy too, because the other thing I don't like is when it sags, like when you got the bow on there, it kind of comes down. So we've got like a little brace that comes back and bites into the bark that holds it up a little bit better. So it's just like, TJ, one of the other owners, he's just beautiful mind, smart. He's like, he hates it when I say he's an engineer. He's an engineer, so he's designed stuff. He's top end, like just
fuck you, TJ. You're an engineer.
No, he's a designer. He's an engineer.
All
He's
right.
smart. And
engineers design things. Designers, well, actually, that's one of those things where it's like a square versus rectangle. One is not the other, but the other is both.
The beautiful thing is you just kind of point him in a direction and he just goes with it. So you can randomly be sitting in a tree stand and be like, this can be better, like something that we can do better. And he's like, let me work on that. And a couple weeks later, you get a rendering and 3D print. And next thing you know, you got the hunter's hanger, which he's holding right there. We're really proud of this one. This is also going to be new. This is made in Wisconsin, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a manufacturer here that's doing it?
You're making it right here in USA.
In
Wisconsin.
like Germantown or something?
No, it's up in Green Bay.
Oh, it's close.
Yeah, close.
Sure.
The other G.
So that's just a general gear hanger. I mean, we're going to be able to you can put your bow on that. You can put a gun on that. You can do your waders, just general organization and storage for your hunting stuff.
Nice.
So it's got an adjustable brace here. So if you're shooting, if you like want to display a good rifle or something, you can put this closer or farther back to the point so the barrel doesn't slide around or anything like that. So yeah, just fun. This is the little 2-pack. It'll be available in a couple different colors, but US made in Wisconsin. And anytime we can do that, we will 100% do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, we're pretty proud.
And that's one of the reasons we like working with you guys. You're right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a benefit of Vector too. They literally drove up and gave me broadheads to kill my deer because I ran out of broadheads.
Well, I mean, I can do that for you if you need a stool.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's the kind of like partnership that's really nice to have the proximity.
Fat guy.
Yeah. Thanks for the stool.
I used to be able to do that. We had a warehouse that was in Oak Creek. But demand got too high and we had to move down.
Interesting.
So move some stuff. So,
and everyone's working out of their house, right? There's not like an office somewhere.
No office. We've got, we literally 3 guys that are throughout the different countries. We got a couple interns. We got one full-time guy that's kind of doing it. And the rest of us are kind of just helping where we can help. And I'm
trying to scale and grow.
I'm the lucky one. I get to come up with the ideas more or less and turn it over. Not all the ideas. I mean, the guys come up with a lot of them, and I more or less my job is to sell it and talk to people like you about,
getting it out there.
It's
cool. Mm-hmm. We got for turkey hunters because that's coming around the corner. That's all I see on social right now is everyone getting all psyched out. I'm getting yelled at for not getting my tag,
should have got
my license.
Should have applied for it.
Should have got it.
Yeah, you're just gonna miss out. We're gonna go. Yeah. We're gonna go on.
I'll figure it out, guys. I wasn't impressed last year. I mean, I wasn't not impressed. Greg definitely put his best foot forward. I just didn't get to experience what everyone talks about. So I didn't.
And then you were going to come with
need a camp.
You were going to come with me in the morning, but then something happened. Remember?
Work meeting or something like that.
Somebody was sick, and you were up all night, or
yeah, that's what it was.
Really bad.
That happened to you last season, not me.
Poop.
He did?
Yeah, he had to poop.
That's why you didn't go turkey hunting?
There's no way.
He got up and said, "Oh, I got to poop."
Oh man,
that wasn't it. No, I think Derek's right.
Excuse.
But Greg, we were pulling out of his driveway for deer hunt. He's like, puts it back in drive, and he's like, I was like, "What'd you forget?" He goes, Nothing." I'm like, "No, what are you doing? What'd you forget? We finally out the door here." And he's like, "I got to take care of something." I'm like, "You're taking a shit." You got
to see a man about a horse.
Yeah,
it never fails, man.
Yeah, you had some tummy problems last season. Well, some rumbling going on down there.
Fine.
You better get out for the turkey this season, though. I took the drive around.
I just am getting bit by the bug. I'm not against it. I just need to. Once with him.
Once. And that was not.
I saw one bird go dust itself in a field far away, and I couldn't have a shot it because it wasn't a.
No, you need to hear him like hammering on a tree. Get all excited about
it. In the dark, and as soon as it starts cracking, and you just hear, and also you'll be shaking your ass off, dude. It'll be fun.
All right. I'd believe it. I also went duck hunting once, and I saw 0 ducks. I also went rabbit hunting like 2 weekends ago, saw 0 rabbits. They're like, usually by this time we have like 8 or 10. I'm like,
my luck.
Cool. And I had COVID, so I was like, I could not keep up. There's like 3 feet of snow up north where I was.
You had COVID and you're going hunting.
Oh, it's totally screwed. Yeah.
I guess that's the world.
It was up north. They're like, we don't care. Careful COVID up here. And I was like, okay.
2 or 3 times now.
And I couldn't breathe. I was like leaning up on every tree. I was like,
Rabbit hunting?
Yeah. It wasn't working out well.
So maybe the rabbits were running between your legs. You just weren't.
They were not. There's so much snow up there. The rabbits were not. They had no reason to come out of anything. You could see the tracks going into the brush piles. They were in there, but they weren't coming out. No.
Oh man, you got
2 guys are just shaking everything, jumping around, and just nothing. But it's actually probably better because if a rabbit would have darted out, I would have missed it. It would have been embarrassing. So it's probably better. Rabbits are pretty fast. I don't know if I could shoot a rabbit.
I think you'd get addicted to turkey hunting if you did it and you had some fun with it. I really enjoy it. Like, if you put a gun to my head and said you got to pick deer hunting or turkey hunting, I would have a real hard time being like,
really?
I can't turkey.
I would not have.
The answer would be deer hunting. It wouldn't be. Like,
whoa! Let's
Getting a little worried.
You're on record here, okay? Yeah. Do you solemnly swear?
No, but I would really miss turkey hunting. I like the turkey hunt a lot.
You like turkey hunting? I think it could be fun. What worries me is ticks. Actually,
the later seasons can suck.
Yeah, the first 3 weeks, depending on how hot and nasty it is, you might find a few. But as things get pretty green, the grass is nice and tall.
Right?
Yeah, I was pretty hot and heavy on that stuff.
Yeah, you got to
coat down some Sawyers real good, and
just
you'll be fine.
hang it out for like 2 days.
Yeah, Sawyer's the yellow bottle stuff.
Yeah. Pre-treat your
whatever. Just make sure you're using it.
I know some of these clothes and camel companies are coming out with the permethrin or something like that is like part of the fabric, and it's good for like up to 1,000 washes or something like that, and it's proven to not let bugs in. So I'm going to be the first to just go all in on that because I hate ticks.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Have you been
Same
bit?
thing. Yeah, I've had them. Dude, we went shed hunting 2 springs ago. The whole family brought the dog, the kids, the wife. Because I was like, let's go to this public land that I know, conservancy property. You can only hunt on it if you get drawn, but otherwise it's open to recreation all year round. So you can go there and
drawn for deer hunting. I was drawn for shed
hunting. So we're shed hunting.
That's a thing out west. I know that's
out west.
Deal out west.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, for sure.
But in any event, we go and I think there's 60 ticks on. Yeah, they're showing up in our house for days. My daughter woke up with one in bed in her arm.
The dog doesn't help with that.
The dogs, they're in my truck. I was like, this is not good for. My wife was like, she's like phobic now or whatever the word is.
Well, I got treated for Lyme disease this last summer.
What the hell? So then what happened? So can you eat meat now or what's the deal?
And everything too?
I didn't have a ring at all. I had a tick on me after went down to Illinois doing
You just weren't feeling well.
And I just felt like shit for a while.
Oh, yeah,
I had a tick on me and it must have been for at least a day because it was like we got back from Illinois, blah, blah, blah. And then like a day or two later, all of a sudden I noticed like a little tick. I don't even remember where it was. But I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, ring or nothing. But I just felt terrible, no energy, sweats, like just sweating constantly. And I went into my doctor and I talked and he's like, yeah, it sounds like you may have that. He's like, we can test you, but sometimes if it's your first like exposure to it, the test can come back. So let's just treat you.
Yeah.
So he treated me and instantly started to feel better.
Just a shot of penicillin or something.
Yeah, just an antibiotic that he took me on and started feeling better right away. But it was like, dang.
So like in the early 90s, they were doing something that was like some sort of like, it was a 4-stage drug that they were giving you basically to make you immune to Lyme disease. And they stopped doing it after like the second one. So I've got like 2 boosters. I needed the third to get it. And I don't know if that makes me immune to it or not, but I got bit probably 2 years ago and pulled the tick out. And it was like, I don't know. Actually, I think it was in my belly button. Pulled it out, put it in the Ziploc baggie, and it had gotten kind of nasty looking. I'm like, gosh, I'm gonna get sick. So I just put it in there and, like any other good guy, I just waited.
Smart.
I'm like, I'm
not going in unless I got
to look at it and make sure and I never got sick. So I don't know. I mean, the other thing too is like, it's hard to tell if it's a deer tick or a wood tick or whatever too at that time, because it was kind of a little bloated. So I'm like, well, if I don't feel good, I know exactly what it is. And I never got sick, but my dad and my uncle both had it and like real bad, like can't get out of bed bad.
Yeah.
So
it's no joke, man.
No, man, it's serious deal.
This is why it freaks me out. This is a genuine.
Well, you just check, man. I mean, it's not like you're going to go out there and it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
All the more reason to apply and get that early tags. You don't have to worry.
That's a good point. Actually, that's pretty motivating.
There's less. There's still some.
Yeah.
There's still I don't know how they live through.
I don't know. We had that polar vortex that one year. I don't know how anything
way
went
north that. Deer hunting. Snow on the ground, 6 inches of snow on the ground. Put my back to a tree, and all of a sudden I look on my jacket and I see it's a deer tick, tiny little deer tick crawling across my jacket.
Yeah, it's not fun. I mean, they're But I wouldn't let it keep you out of the woods for turkey hunting.
Well, no, that's just it. That's why I think the Promethean is probably the best defense you can do, and bug spray helps
just
too.
Come and
Turkeys aren't
when we go.
as scent-centric as a deer is, so who gives a crap? I suppose.
Yeah, Cookie.
Tom DeCray.
3 times.
Who actually made us a pot call or a slate call, whatever they're called.
But Tom does have a point there. Like the tick magnet thing, that's not like an accident. There are some people who, whether it's like whatever your CO2, like
mosquitoes.
I can go in the woods with 3 buddies trout fishing, and I'll have 5 times more ticks on me than they will, and we'll walk the same spots. Shorter?
Wow.
He gives them the grass a little
I'm
more.
not taking his. Hey, you take his ass turkey. I'm not trying.
I got the thing with mosquitoes though. Like for one reason or another, like I will get bit, but I never like. There'd be people out there like, oh, I got to go inside. It's terrible, and I'm like,
this mosquitoes.
Notice it's that bad?
Yeah.
What's that joke? How does a Scotsman find sheep in tall grass? I don't know why I thought of that. Very satisfying. Not on point. I was thinking it. I don't know why, because the short joke. I was thinking,
point at me with that
where
joke.
Are you? I mean,
I just wandered into a field.
He looked right at you
with a kiltie.
It said very satisfying.
Hey, he's the one who's not coming to podcast anymore. Be mad at him.
You shut up.
Shut your mouth when I'm talking to you.
Are you a sticker on guy? You keep your stickers on your hat?
Hey, I just put it on. You know, thought it looked cool.
It does look cool.
He's sporting the sweatshirt too. He's it's one of our test ones we just got.
Yeah. Does this make
it's a large
fatter than usual?
He wants an XL.
Slimming actually is what I thought.
If it shrinks, you're screwed.
Thanks.
I actually was going to comment. Did you lose weight since
No, not at all.
That sweatshirt is pretty thin. What is that? What's the word?
It's a lot of work dragging out 19 does.
That's it.
Well, someone had to kill him.
You did some herd management, man. You did well.
That piece of property needed it bad, and that second piece that I picked up to chase that buck on
is private.
Yeah, it's all private. The first one was private, butted up to public that I've hunted in the past, and it just happened to be a friend of a friend, and he's like, "Yeah, I got a problem." Like, yeah, you do. Like, I watch these deer come past me in some cases and head for your property. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's a real deal. I mean, if bucks have to compete with that many does,
and you weren't. I never saw a buck during daylight hours out there ever.
Well, because they're not going to. I mean,
no,
you're going to get. It's a deep. You know, even during the rut. I mean, it's. Yeah, you're going to have them running through there every now and then, but if they have to compete with the does, and it's just not going to work.
No.
When you say compete, do you mean like
for food sources, shelter, like where they're bedding and stuff like that? Yeah. They just, they don't want to be.
Yeah.
Generally, for the most time, they're not going to be in that same area where you got these big family. I
was just thinking that they can be lazy because they got their pick of the litter right there.
Well, they'll find, but they'll pick off a doe and chase her around for whatever, and you still got, yeah, it's not bad during the rut. I mean, obviously having does around for the rut's good, but I mean, if you want to keep,
bucks.
A good portion of your bucks on the property, depending on how big the property is, the balance is, and your rut will actually get better if there's fewer does.
And you're hunting private or leased or
private for the most part? I mean, what I was hunting out west was mostly, it was a mix of private and public, but we were just knocking on doors out west,
sure,
and getting permission. But for the most part, yeah, I hunt mostly all private, pretty well managed property. That I try.
Is it your property or
no? It's literally a piece that I have down here in southeastern Wisconsin. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Permissions only.
Mm-hmm.
Just asked him 5 or 6 years ago, and he's like, "Yeah, go for it." So, and I try to do what I can. I go out there and clean it up, and if there's garbage out there, I pick it up.
You must be doing something right if you've held on to it for that long, because not many people are able to do that.
It's like combat hunting too, because all the properties around it have other hunters on it, and like my trail cameras are like half people just wandering around. I had a guy so I was running.
You almost get defensive as the property owner. Like, man, I asked for permission on this. You get out of here.
Well, here's the thing, though. You don't want
to deal with that. It sucks.
Yeah.
You don't want to rock the boat too much because you're like, if I make too much of a problem out of this, then he's going to be like, that's it. Nobody's hunting, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, man, you got people on your line. You're like,
if you make maybe you don't make a good shot and that deer ends up on that person's property, you kind of want to, you got to watch it.
Dude, listen, deer make people stupid. And to be honest,
make them nuts.
If I had the guys' numbers that were hunting to the west or east and north of me or whatever, I would gladly be relationship with them. Hey, I'm going to hunt the south side of this property today. Have you seen this buck? I don't care. If you shoot it, I'll be the first one to be over there to help you drag it out, slap you on the back. Congratulations. I don't care that
That's the way
much.
it should be. That's good.
I mean, yeah, I want to shoot it.
It'd be really weird if you said something else.
Yeah, it would be
I was
awkward.
like, how does this guy get in here?
But anyway, like it's not mine. So I also feel like where's my spot to be able to be like, hey, get off the property. I mean, I do like if there, if I get the chance to like confront the guy, and I've had opportunities before. Like 2 years ago, I talked to a guy that was.
I'd hate to run into you in the woods. You're huge.
Yeah,
I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
Lucy, come here, dog. Looking for my dog.
I'm a gentle giant.
I don't care. Looks are deceiving, then.
Just this guy didn't have any kind of issue with me, man. He probably would have went to blows with it. He really was not a happy camper.
Jeez.
So I kind of tried to talk him down a little bit. I was like, listen, we don't need to get there. Like, he's like,
weapons in hand.
He's like, I'll call the DNR. I'm like, here's his number. Actually, I know him quite well. Like,
he's been on a podcast with me.
He's multiple.
We talked about killing kangaroos.
Yeah,
that's on the Ohio Outdoor. Yeah,
that was interesting. I wish I could say I remember.
You were on the podcast.
Yeah, and then I left. Evidently, like I actually listened to that for the first time because who's the O2 helped me with
Paul.
Paul's like, hey, did you listen? Because that was his, right? He was the one that posted. He's like, hey, did you listen to the podcast? I'm like, no.
I haven't ever listened to it.
Because he was on Glenn. You know Glenn, right?
Yeah, I know.
So Glenn was like, they were hunting up in like the UP, and they had like
bear.
Talking about the bear ate their deer. Talking about ticks, that's a good story with Glenn. You should have that some other time.
He said, he can't even eat anymore.
No, I can't. He got bit. Like ticks have screwed that dude up so bad. He got bit and can't eat meat. And then he got bit when he was like in basic training in his junk. And it was a bad deal. It's a funny story.
Ball ticks are no joke.
Yeah, no. Well,
it's not a joke.
But like I said, you should go turkey
I'm not comfortable making a joke about that. Glenn's probably listening. So
no, the kangaroo hunting thing.
Yeah, but that was the DNR was on the podcast with us. This is at the thing last summer that they put on the Half Rack Conservation Day with 2%, and we're 2% certified. You're 2% certified. Yep. We're all 2%. No, we're not.
Yeah,
but we are. And so you guys put on this event. O2 brought their podcast equipment. They were dumb enough to invite me onto the thing. I was drunk.
Was there, I think.
Yep.
I think.
And then I was like, they're like, bring some pizza out. I was like, yeah. So we're like on the podcast, just down in pizza, just talking about hunting kangaroos.
No,
with the DNR.
No.
Something crazy.
The four of us were talking. I was the only sober one in the group, I think, for the majority of this.
So you had enough greasy pizza to soak it.
No, I just wasn't at that level yet.
Because he's bigger, it takes more booze.
It does take a lot. But
not a cheap date.
We all thought it was a good idea. Hazy's over here instead of.
Well, that's what I was drinking. I was drinking some really good beer. I was like, wow. And I was having fun. I was with my buddies. This is great.
It was good. It was fun. We just, probably drank too much and thought it was a good idea to bring the game warden in when we were.
But he was loving it.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, I think he got a big old dip in the whole time. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't think I've ever talked to him.
I distinctly remember him going, "Oh yeah."
I don't think I've ever talked to him when he wasn't working a dip. But yeah.
But he was all in his like, I don't know what you call him. He was in his uniform.
Yeah. It
was intimidating.
Yeah,
actually.
Well, he comes out there. I mean, that's the reason why we asked him to come out there is like make it less intimidating.
To make sure no one did anything stupid.
Well, just like so people don't have an intimidating. He's not out there to hurt anybody.
You're right.
No. Yeah. And you should get to know your local DNR warden on a good basis.
Absolutely. So if there's an old guy yelling and cussing at you to the south of your property, you can be like, yeah, matter of fact, I do know him, and I'll call him right now if you want to have a conversation with him.
Did you guys ever watch Yellowstone?
Yeah.
The episode where he actually killed a bear.
Yeah.
And the warden came out and he's like, well, yeah, I guess actually that's self-defense. I would have shit my pants if that bear is that close to me.
The wardens actually make another appearance on it this year because they kill some wolves.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, big Yellowstone fan.
Crazy. I saw episode 1 of season 5 and I can't figure out how to get it for free.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. We watched the first one.
I'm like, and then it's like you can't watch it. I was like,
you guys don't have it like on your standard.
No, I guess I have Spectrum, but I don't have that package, which I'm about to change because I need to know what happened.
Don't they run it like on like?
No, dude, it's very confusing. Is it on Peacock? Is it on Paramount? I don't know what.
But it's not on Paramount Plus. It's on Paramount Network.
Yeah, but you have to have the cable subscription to it.
All
or
the
something.
back episodes were on Peacock.
I pulled out the big guns and trying to figure out how to watch it. I asked the students at school. I'm like, all right, you guys are good at this stuff.
How do I watch that?
Actually. I got a Fire Stick. Make it work.
There was 3 kids that were like, I'll give you my password and just watch it.
You have to pay.
Tell them to give it to me too.
A+.
A+. There you go. Ralph, thanks. Yeah, there's a warning on the post about the live feed that we're going to be all over the place. So I'm comfortable bouncing around. But that was kind of relevant. So I don't know where the hell we were going with any of that, other than know your warden. The warden was at the thing. That's great. I should go turkey hunting more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a reborn again turkey hunter.
Yeah.
Really? I grew up turkey hunting. Like I loved it. And then I went through a span for about 8 years where I didn't buy a tag. It just didn't interest me.
See, that was me too for a bit. I didn't.
Well, you were into four-wheeling for a while.
I did ATVs and dirt bikes. So I was more into that and then building engines and building up trucks and doing all that crap.
Well, welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Good to have you.
Paul Campbell, who we were just talking about, though, too, he works for the National Wild Turkey Federation. I know that because it's NWTF, so it's easy to remember. But he's like, I'm finally just getting into deer hunting because he loves turkey hunting so much.
I feel bad I forgot his name. He's a great guy.
I hope he listens to this.
I hope he does too. Actually, I'll text him and tell him to.
Does anybody want some smoke wagon?
I had some.
I'll try a
sounds
splash.
like
I got a little bit of ice left.
It's got a nice
sounds
little
like a
spice
cool
to
name
it.
to it, you know? There's a little bit for you. Some smoke wagon.
I had mine neat.
Did you? How'd it feel? Did it burn a little bit?
No one likes
It's
a
got a little
bragger.
spice.
I don't know
It's
how
good.
strong this one is. It's from Las
It's-
Vegas, so I'm sure.
57.56.
It's got some zip.
Yeah.
140.
Someone asked earlier, and I never got to answer what we're drinking tonight. And the answer was the 101 Maker's Mark and now the Smoke Wagon. And it's something I'll probably polish off this Drop Tine bourbon. We got bottles of this to get through.
It looks like it's itching to be polished.
Oh, yeah, it's on its way out. We crush this stuff in here. Drop Tine is good.
I got,
Serious Angler. We got a fisherman listen to this. Howdy, fellas. Somebody make Eric chug. I'm not chugging that, Bailey.
Do it.
I don't think he could do it.
Fisherman is listening to
Serious Angler
It's a
is a
different
serious
night, isn't
podcast. They put out
It's
some.
whenever Eric decides
good-
to put it out, pretty much.
That's not true. We just
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
It's been live for a single day, and he's already giving me
I'm
shit.
just going to give him a little shit when I can.
They have. Well, I was like, oh yeah, I'll upload the episodes, and then I go to the drive folder where it's a share, and there's only one in there. Greg's like, that can't be right. I'm like, look, man, there's only one in here,
It's
and then
hard to find good interviews.
he gets in here with me, and he's like, well, here they are. I'm like, well, they're not in the fucking folder. they're just kind of there floating around.
They're in there. They're just
Really?
Not in the folder that I have
not the
access
folder
to.
we were hoping for.
I said, put it in the folder.
I did. I put it in a folder.
Now it is. I
A
did.
folder.
A folder. You're lucky it got there at all.
Technology's a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah, well, what do you do?
When we go up ice fishing to Pelican Lake end of February, I'm going to bring my GoPro.
Nice.
Do you want me to?
You should.
Well, yeah, you guys got GoPros.
Just get some.
I don't know. I haven't been home to see it
It
yet.
showed up today.
Nice.
I know it did because I got the
You
email.
got the
I got a
the
nice
Fleeman?
fancy new camera.
Did you?
What'd you
What'd
get?
you get?
Canon something or other.
Yeah,
Oh,
nice.
oh, Canons are good.
DSLR,
Sure.
mirrorless.
mirrorless?
One you take picture with.
It does the videos and the pictures.
We got the
Oh, there
Sony
you go.
A7 on the desk over there, so when I make my dumb desk videos, that's what that's doing.
Oh, that's nice.
It's also my
R6 and
webcam.
R7 and R5. Which one?
Sounds right.
Okay, all of them.
I think it's an R
R57.6.
something RC7 or something like that.
Could be.
I know nothing about it. I just
What are you gonna do with it?
do
Did your
product videos because we need tons of
Yeah.
Like,
You
we
just got to
don't
give me
ever have
product, and
enough
we'll just
time.
bake it into our agreement. We'll just
I
get
mean,
you
that's
product
what I was
stuff.
kind of hoping. Like,
That's what's gonna
part of
happen.
the deal
Yeah.
that
Or
we-
you're hiring people like Taylor Coleman to come down and
Yeah.
Or
take
Brad
pictures,
Beaver,
videos,
and all the other like
Well,
guys
those-
that are really good at doing stuff like that.
Yeah, those guys have all
Jimmy,
they're all excellent at what they do. It's
Yeah.
just getting their time. That's why
Yeah.
I now own a camera, and
They
they all
busy.
literally laugh at me for the fact that I'm like, I'm going to do it. Just take pictures. And that's,
can't be that hard, guys.
well, I listen. I'm not going to go out there. I am no Brad Beaver, and none of those guys.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not looking to create something that's going to be on the cover of whatever magazine.
Yeah, Mitch with Arrows North. They just won the Sitka picture, that
Yeah.
deer camp table.
Beautiful.
They've done some photography for
now,
us. Those
now
guys
it's
are
going to
awesome.
cost them like $1,000 an hour to go shoot
Yeah.
photography.
Yeah.
I just want pictures of the stuff, and that's I'm not trying to take that job away. We'll still contract and hire those guys, but if I need to do a video, we want to be able to do a video.
A little utilitarian.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just a little.
You need
bit.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, they can use my camera. Sure they don't need it because they've got big dollars in it, but I thought it made more sense in some cases. I was like, well,
Apparently, I gotta
certainly.
get a drone. That's what everyone's telling me to get.
Dude,
I'm like,
you know what I've been
what am I gonna do with a
Nice
fucking
little tiny
drone?
drone.
Do you know what I've been hooked on watching? Since I watch YouTube hunting shows. I watch
Watching
all
the
of them.
drone recovery videos.
The drone recovery. Since there's no new hunting content, I've been watching that. It's like really interesting, but like I don't know how I feel about it. But it's like fun to watch.
Someone asked
Have
us
you seen that?
point blank. They said,
No.
"What do you think of this?" Because it wasn't just, and they were on the Working Class Bowhunter podcast. And the one you're talking about, I think his business name is like Drone Recovery. I don't know.
But the infrared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thermal.
from a business standpoint, if that gets to some regulation, like I would be nervous to be in that position and then get like,
I think the recovery stat, I mean, to me, if it helps you recover your game,
I think it's got some ethics that play into it if it plays in its favor. But now they're using it to just infrared look at deer to evaluate your private property to see how many deer your property's holding. And I think that's where it could get a little grayer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
The part that seemed like,
but I wouldn't do that with it. I would just want some cool stuff.
Sure.
I'd crash it. I'd crash it. It'd be a waste of money. I'd just crash it day one.
Right.
Well, that one that guy's using with the thermal, it's like 15 grand.
That's wild.
That's pretty good.
That's
expensive. What was cool though is they're like nice. Private land guys were using it. They're calling them in, so like you wouldn't have to get a dog, and they were like flying it over the neighbor's property because we think it went on the neighbor's. So you're not busting out your neighbor's property. They can locate it, tell the neighbor, hey we know where the deer is. Like, can we go grab it whenever without grid searching somebody else's property? Which I see some value in that.
I think recovery wise, it should be something that you would utilize. I mean,
it's obviously working for the moment.
That's legal and.
That's what I mean. You have to have like a pilot's license, so that's on them and their business insurance and like the aviation stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sure he holds a lot of that. But then you get like in the local municipalities and some states might start to say like, well, no.
No, there's a lot of states that have already tried to get in front of that. Like even a couple of years ago about drones and just scouting for drones and they've outlawed them and stuff. So it's something that's on their radar already. I don't know what Wisconsin would be a good question for the DNR.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because it'd be like if I had one, I'd just go fly it around and be like, oh, there's a freaking deer. Like, that's cool.
Well,
am I doing anything with it?
No. They're bedded or whatever. You could just literally.
That's that gray area where it's.
So then it's like, are you cheating? Because we talked about the live streaming trail cams or cell cams a couple of weeks ago.
Dude, I'm actually going to take a step backwards. I think with trail cameras this year, I've
heard more people doing that.
Like I still like the cell phone aspect of it, but I feel like it dictated too much of like how I was hunting and when I was hunting because I was like, oh, they're not really that active. But I know damn well because I'd go out there and I'd see like trails or something like a deer movement around a trail camera. And I'm
always.
I didn't go out there because I was like, oh, there's nothing happening. There's stuff happening still.
You just walked another direction.
Yeah.
That's all.
You rely too heavily on them, and then you're like, oh, I'm not going to go out because the cameras are dead.
Yeah,
they're good for a guideline. At least give you an idea of what's there. Chris
Whitley, good dude. He's a huge turkey hunter, and he does like calling competitions and does a lot of tutorials. So I don't know how he caught wind of this.
He heard turkey somehow through the way.
That's exactly it. Like he heard someone say turkey, and he popped in. So that's pretty impressive, Chris.
One of my good buddies that I talked to all throughout the year, mainly about deer, but he ran more cell cameras than he's ever run this season. I think he had like 11, and he ran them, and fewest buck sightings he's had in the last 10 years.
Dude.
And it came down to the point I was like, dude, you're hunting pictures. Like, stop hunting pictures.
That's exactly it.
He just sold his whole fleet of cell cameras. And I think he's like keeping a couple because he's got like the Cuddy Link system. So he's going to keep a couple for his home area. But I think it came to the point where like you just rely so much, you're no longer like being in the woods because you're letting the cameras do that work. And honestly, I think that really is a detriment.
I used those. I moved them around more so that I was hunting when the people weren't there. I literally put them up high in the tree just to see when people were entering that particular area. And if it was, if I knew that they were in there, then I would go in and hunt.
Using it to scout against people.
They're hunters.
That's probably smarter than
the deer. And I hunt pretty close to like a park, so people get lost all the time and wander on and whatever. I mean, it's
what the hell's this guy doing here?
Yeah,
oh, he's taking a poop. Oh no,
those guys are clear to. They could totally. I did get I'm pretty sure like some random homeless guy was wandering through the property in the center of the property too. And I'm like, what is he doing? And like, he went in, like, it was odd. Cause it was like, I was down in Atlanta or something. He went in
Atlanta,
5 o'clock. And then he left at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, literally got a stick with a bag. I'll show you the picture. I kept it. Cause
dude, Seek One is photos like that where they,
no, dude, this isn't like, I get it. If the Seek One guys were out there and they had that picture, I'd be like, I understand it. Cause they're hunting suburban. This ain't it. Like,
interesting.
I don't know where this dude came from. Like,
he probably broke out of jail.
Probably. Well, there is. Well, I don't want to talk about it.
Now we're gonna know where you're
giving too much. Don't do it.
I think you just said too much.
When you said park guys,
property's gone.
When you said park guys on the camera, I was like, "Oh, you're getting a frisbee flying by your cell cam," but no, you're talking something totally different.
Yeah, there's gonna be people all over my spot now.
You'll be fine.
Yeah,
it's all right.
It's like when I shot that buck. I recognize that tree. I was like, "Shut the fuck! Are you kidding me?" You know. Come on.
You and I both got phone calls and text messages about it. I'm like,
that spot's pressure pretty heavily.
I think that party still asks if you hunt that spot.
Yeah, my buddy does heavily. He's been chasing a 10-pointer, I believe, all season long back there, and it's back there. He just couldn't connect with it. He had a couple shots at it. I mean, they're around. I was glassing with my kids in the van the one night. I think I was calling you, and I was like, I got eyes on a buck right now. I was like freaking out, And I hunted it. I did hunt it once with Jace, the videographer, and nothing happened. I hunted the same tree because I didn't know what I was doing. Another dude walked out when I was walking in, and he was just checking cams, and he's like, oh, yeah, there's a nice 10 back here. But the private land guys that live on that road are hunting it and kicking people out kind of thing. It's public. So it's like,
it's just...
Yeah, it's just that the pressure part is I think it's one of the biggest challenges that I don't know not that it doesn't get talked about because that's taboo, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about pressure that much, even though it's heavy. There's a lot of pressure.
You can almost use it to your advantage sometimes.
It's easier said than done, I think, unless you're, I don't know. I look at Derek and Greg because you guys, you dealt with a shit ton of pressure this year, and you just seem to like skirt your way through like a NASCAR wreckage.
I literally just hunt the places that other people have a hard time hunting.
Yeah.
Because that's where the deer are, because that's where people are.
And most of the time now,
you make it sound so simple.
That way where
it sucks getting in a tree, but that's literally what I do. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I had it that way for a while with a couple of pieces out by me, and now because it's so cool, even though they're harder spots to get to,
you're still touching cords there.
I'm still finding guys in there.
Stop. It was doing something weird. Yeah, don't touch the cords, Greg. What are you doing?
No, it's fine.
Number one rule of podcasting: don't touch the cords.
Don't touch it.
It's even like though that even on private property though that's a challenge because you got the borders that there's people.
Yeah, that's a totally different challenge.
But it's still like you still got to deal with it.
I think it's more. I think it's worse, and we've talked about that before. But I think because like you're on a fixed piece, you notice intrusions and pay attention to who's around it more. Like my public spots, I only know if somebody's there if they're there when I'm there, right? Or like I see a boot track. But on private, I feel like there's so much like tension, right? Like
everyone's like wound up.
It's like, oh, get away from my deer. Like that's my. It's
because if it crosses that line, you're out of luck.
Man, it's headaches. Yeah.
On public, you're just like, well,
you expect shit.
Yeah.
You usually get shit, but like at least you expect it.
Expectation versus reality. Yeah.
It depends on where you're hunting too. I mean, there's different.
It's like my wife with podcasting. If she expects it on podcast, it's okay. But if she didn't, which I used to do it, she'd be pissed. Because I'd be like, I'm a podcast. And she's like, well, you weren't podcasting tonight 5 minutes ago. I'm like, well, now I am. So that was a problem. There's Chris. Said, I'll read on the screen so people don't wonder why it's just silent on the podcast side. But Greg, do you want to read it?
Sure. I let my cell cam cost me a really good buck. Was hunting a stud that was random while I had a camera showing my number 2 buck frequently.
Yeah, I mean.
And then he went on to say, it's going to take a second to load up. He said, by the time the big one got killed by the neighbor, my number 2 is nocturnal.
Yeah, because he did too much to educate.
That's like when you're single and you're dating too many girls at once, and then you end up dating none of them because you can't pick one.
Exactly.
That's what a dating app is. You just keep swiping.
Glad I never.
And you're like, well, I guess I'm not going to date anybody because I can't decide because I want this one, but no, I want that one.
I feel like that's a fairly common, not the dating. I don't know. The deer, like when you literally, like I
have a buddy that
think I fell right into that. Like I'm looking at my cameras, I'm, because time's hard to get out and whatever and busy. So you want to make sure you're going out there, making the most of the time when you have it. And the fact is like from October to the second week in November, if you can be in the tree, be in the tree.
That's it.
Be in the tree. Because you don't know. I mean, it's like a hot doe pops and, there's your buck's running through it or there's a good buck running through it. And you just got to be out there.
I want to hire like a sketch artist that can do the old fashioned, maybe the old fashioned comics. That you'd see in like the newspaper, the fucking physical newspaper. I'm swearing because I had some bourbon now, apparently.
Blame the bourbon.
And I want to do one like, satirical, like I want a guy on a couch with a tree right there and a cell cam with an antenna saying couch killers or something like that, just like, but that doesn't go on a shirt. That doesn't go on a sticker, but that could be like a comic, or a post. And I don't know how to do that. I can't draw anymore.
That goes in your news blast, your email
or something, right? Like, but I just think there's so many things like that you could convey and communicate, like the illustrations that exist in newspapers. I don't know where you find that stuff anymore. They still exist
it's
somehow
a thing for sure.
But
I'll write you a blog.
You can't kill them from the couch unless it's beer.
But exactly what you just said.
Sorry,
sometimes
weird
you can,
tangent,
but
guys.
that time, like when it's 90 degrees, September, 20th, yeah, you can kill them from the couch. Don't even bother going out. If you're looking for, it depends.
Unless you're Greg and you're like, or Derek for that matter. Both of you guys put me through hell.
Read the situation, right? So, I mean, typically most times if it's that nasty and hot, you're out there buck hunting and you're looking for a specific deer, it's not going to, there's just times where it's better to not be out there. But there's other times where you just don't rely on the cameras, just go out and hunt and just be there.
Mm-hmm. I've punished myself for years on opening weekend because 10 years ago,
I had weekends different than
opening weekend here in Wisconsin. It was like 94 degrees. And my dad was like, there's no way in hell I'm hunting. I went and checked some cameras along a creek. Nothing on my cameras, nothing good during daylight. But I found a huge set of tracks crossing the creek between two of my cameras that were fresh. I was like, I'm going to hunt here. It's cooler in that little creek bottom in the Cedars. This is up north in National Forest. So I hunted that night, 94 degrees, and I saw the shooter that I was after. 40 yards, made 2 rubs. Came out at like 3:30. And ever since then, I'm like, they move at all times. I sweated my ass off. Never seen anything in the last 10 years. But that one time has got me like, you never know.
I guess it's all relative.
But then what do you do with the meat at 94 degrees? That
you put it.
Well, yeah, we'll go full circle.
Hey, let me tell you.
Funny thing about that.
You put it in a meat lug.
You see, we got this thing called the meat lug there, Eric. I don't know. I'm talking like a 1950s.
Now with room for rice.
Now with room for rice. See?
You debone that deer and you put it in the meat log.
I got an idea for your commercial. It's all like, crackly on the screen.
For some reason, everybody did like an old guy voice as soon as we started talking about that.
It's the smoke wagon, I tell you.
I don't even think there's this is like a L'Oreal.
What the hell?
It's good though.
Maybe this is just mixing in with the 101, and suddenly I'm like, hey,
how you doing?
How you doing?
Hey. Yeah, no, I hunted one specific deer, and that's the last time I'll do that this year too. Like this year, I was like after one deer, and that was it, and I'm not doing that anymore. I didn't.
Greg tried that the last 2 seasons, right? And I think you're probably gonna try it again because he's still out there, as far as we know.
That deer is long gone. I haven't heard of anybody shooting it, but it doesn't mean it didn't die of old age either, or get shot and wounded and never recovered.
That was a beast.
Yeah. What do you do?
I don't know what you do.
Wait for another one this year. I mean, you saw some of the stuff.
You don't shoot one buck.
No,
you just go after a good deer that makes you happy.
I love shooting any buck.
I passed on a 90-inch 8-pointer. I wasn't going to.
That was any
happy,
buck.
So
it was a great buck.
I never seen that buck. I saw him once, and then that was it.
First time sit, man.
Yeah. I just think it's great that it's bigger than I thought. That doesn't happen often to people.
You thought it was like a 6 or an 8-pointer or something, right?
Yeah. If I took that deer, went profile with it, and stood like 40 yards away, you'd probably think, oh yeah, it looks like a 6, because that's what happened. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great buck, man.
It's exciting.
Heck yeah.
I'm excited for our stuff to launch, and whenever we get it done here, I'm excited to see how it all came together, all our shenanigans and stuff. I keep talking about it. I keep waiting. I'm just really anxious about it.
Well, I want to hunt with y'all.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about it now for 2 years. Like I actually want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we could come to your property if you're willing to have us, because you got to get permission from the landowner, but certainly there's enough public land around here to go around.
Guys,
so
more than welcome to come hunt.
Yeah. There's no guarantees with us what's going to happen, other than you're probably going to have some fun or F something up, which sounds like you're pretty good at doing. So
I've tried it. That's a nice ball.
That's the one I missed.
Well, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
How'd you miss that one? What happened? I don't remember.
That's the one where I ended up catching, it was a 20-minute standoff with this deer, whether he was going to go one way down a trail or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided to
come yeah. Thank you. Okay.
And I had one opening, and I didn't go through and pre-trim anything. This was one opening. I could see a shot. The shot placement looked like it was going to be right on the money. I drew on this deer 3 times. He kept disappearing behind trees, and because he'd stop and he'd bend over and feed, and then he'd turn around because he hears something behind him, and all of a sudden, the 3rd time he started moving. I came full draw. I'm like, "Yep, that's the one opening I have right there."
Mm-hmm.
And he just stuttered enough, and I touched off on the release, and I watched the arrow fly, and it was right at the crease of the shoulder, mid body height, right at the crease of the shoulder. Going, and all of a sudden I watched the lighted knock to a tail whip and a loud pop, a loud crack. And it wasn't impact of shoulder or anything. It was a distinctively different crack. And I watched that knock fly over his back, and the arrow just kind of helicoptered and laid there in the leaves underneath his feet.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, he never mule kicked or anything. He just ran about 30 yards, stopped and turned around and looked like what just happened.
God, you're a hell of a storyteller, man. I'm like,
that's why
I'm glued.
So
you should go back to the first episode Greg ever called in like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it was great.
But what do you do?
Yeah.
And he just kind of
man.
He stared back. He's like, I just don't know what happened. And then he kind of
and Greg's thinking the same thing.
I'm
like, what the hell happened? It's right.
Yeah, because I couldn't see it. I mean, the tree was this big around. I shared a picture of it on my Instagram profile, but it caught the edge of that tree and destroyed the arrow. And I still haven't found the broadhead or the outside or any of that. It just exploded.
But I got lucky and killed a deer in Kansas. Actually, the taxidermist just texted me on the way up here that my mount's done.
Cool.
So,
hey, wow.
Yeah, it's cool. But I got lucky the same way. It hit a branch and deflected into him.
Yeah.
And I'm using Swacker broadhead, so it opened before it even hit him. So it opened kind of, but he was like at 10 yards. It was a chip shot. And the branch was like that close to him, but it did open before. It was like, you can hear the sound. It just sounds different.
Yeah.
Like it hit that tree and then it went like, I didn't even see the tree. Same deal. It was like a little stick, more or less. Hit him, clipped his heart, and then punched a lung out and then liver. And I watched that deer. He mule kicked, ran back around, good blood, and then went like 110 yards, stood there, bedded down. I watched him for an hour and 15 minutes. He'd stand up, fall down, blood pour out of him, stand up, sit down, probably 3 times within an hour. After an hour and 15 minutes, he stood up, walked off.
Ugh.
And I'm like, what the, that's not. So get down, go back, eat my lunch at like 8:00 because I shot it like right away. I'm like, I'm going to all day sit. And I had literally like 2 days to make this thing work because I was just had a lot of stuff going on. So I went down there for 2 days, hunted for 2 days. And this was the second day that I was down there. Shot him first thing in the morning. And I went back and ate my lunch. I'm like replaying the shot. And I go back and I look where the arrow was and it's just covered. And it's, there's bubbles on it. And I'm like, God, I had to have gotten lung. So I was just like, I'm going to start tracking them, and I start tracking them up. And, the guy that I was hunting down there with had come out and he's like, well, where was he? And I'm like, this is where he bedded up. And you can clearly see there's just tons of blood there. And then he walked, we blood trailed him for maybe another 10 or 15 yards and it just dried up, like completely dried up. And I'm like, man, this deer is dead, dude. Like I've shot some deer. I'm like, not trying to be like, if I told you if I gut shot this thing or shot it bad, I would be honest about it. Like this thing was pinwheeled. It was smoked. It was a little quartering too, but it was still smoked. He's like, oh no, I believe you. So we're like on hands and knees, like flipping through, leaves and stuff like that. And crows are just hammering like 100 yards in front of us. He's like, man, your deer's got to be up there. Those crows are on your deer. I don't know about that. I'm just going to stay on blood or whatever. And so he runs out, goes to the fence line. He's like, I didn't see your deer. So an hour, we're still like blood. And he's like, the crows are just getting louder.
Are you just finding specks, like little bits?
Not even like, it's such a small amount of blood.
Is it like coming out of his nose maybe?
It wasn't left or right. Like it wasn't like, it was a blood trail that was like beautiful. And then it just dried up. And he, like I said, I think it clotted up when he was laying there for an hour. And that's what happened. I mean, it just clotted up and he, it was just a little, maybe out of his nose, whatever. So it goes up around. He goes up. He's like, dude, your deer's got to be up there. Those crows are on your deer. So he goes up the hill and I like look out and he's like, giving me the hand signals, like waving me up. So I walk around and this deer, we didn't know at the time, but when we're looking at it, it's dead. And his head's like leaned up against a pine tree. Like, so it looks like it's just bedded. And like, we're both like glassing it. And we're like, dude, is this thing alive? And he's like, I think it's alive. And I'm like, son of a bitch. It's like 5 hours after I shot it. I'm like, dude, this deer just is like impressive. Like, it doesn't know. So I'm like, all right, so I'm going to sneak around and get the wind.
Dying wish. I'm going to, these guys.
Yeah, dude, literally.
It's almost like it didn't want to die.
It was like, literally, like, yeah. The hell? Just die. So I like sneak up on this deer, come back around, and I get like within like 40 yards. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to step out in front of it. So I got an arrow knocked and pulled back on it like 20. And I'm like creeping. Even at like 10 yards, I'm still convinced that deer is alive. I'm like, it's going to jump up and run. I'm literally thinking about plunking it one more time just because I'm like, it's alive. And so I'm like, all right, it ain't alive because I'm within 10 yards. I'm like, okay, so I'm still
has
like
a twitch, doesn't move to
the first time I've ever done like the kick the deer thing to see if it's
actually
alive. I'm like been concerned that it was still alive because I'm like, No,
so the crows were
the crows were like, it was dead. I mean, it probably died
an hour.
Not even. It really didn't go that far from where it was from where it died. But just that one lung, man. And when we gutted it out, the heart had like a little slice through it. I mean, it wasn't deep, but it was still enough that like, dude, you cut my heart. I ain't running. I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, I'm done. And this thing, dude, it lived at least 2 hours and took the liver out of it. And it's like, it's one of those things.
Blood trailing too. Like when we tracked this one, even the short little bit that we did, like that you mentioned, like, it's coming out the side, it's coming out the nose, like the intricacy of how detailed and granular you can get with a blood trail, like it's pouring out of this side. That means like this is the entry and this is the exit. Basically, like the forensics that go into like this crime scene. It's that in and of itself is like
it all makes a huge difference.
You don't do that often in life. I mean, some of us do a bunch apparently. Like, but in reality, like there's the hunt, there's the prep, there's the the gear, there's all these components. There's nature, there's the kill, there's the meat, there's the camaraderie, but there's this one part of it where you get to be a fucking hardcore detective and pick apart a murder scene.
Yeah, dude, it's not enjoyable though. That's like my least favorite part of the whole thing.
I was with this one even. I was so convinced I wasn't going to find it because I'm the OKS hunter. There's no way I actually got this thing. And as we're going, it's getting a little bit positive. Oh, it's getting a little negative. It's a freaking roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah,
I love doing it. I love doing it if I'm helping or I'm like doing it for because I can be super objective and just pay attention to it. But like as soon as you are the one, you get super subjective, like where you think you hit it. And like you said,
but
you hit it good, but you didn't really know that maybe it deflected and it hit weird. So like in your brain, it's one way and it's hard to get to deviate. And
it's like a mom that knows her kid. It's like the doctor's like, you have spidey senses. Like if you're the one that shot it, what happened. And then there's this other component you're talking about as the helper. It's like watching a playoff game, but your team's not in it. And you're like, I can watch this game and enjoy it.
Or because I'm not
stressed.
Like, well, you should have done this.
Yeah. I would have caught that ball. I would have shot him like this. You know what? You weren't in the tree.
Too soon, but I saw this today.
What do we got? Can we talk about whatever you're showing us all here?
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I don't even know what that is.
A mutual friend of ours told me I should do that. So.
Oh, that's pretty great. Jeez, Greg.
So your taxidermist called today too, huh?
Oh yeah.
It's a broken stick on a plaque. That's a terrible prank.
You've had a season of adversity. I feel like ever since your big guy.
Dude, you got protein up for days though.
But your big guy was elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that was like blow number one. And then you had cameras just flipping everywhere.
I did. And look at some of the stuff that I picked up on those cameras. It's like, great. They're there, but I can't hunt them. So it's cool to see them. That 110 pointer is a monster.
You had a bunch of
I believe he got killed though.
Wow.
Yeah, opening day of gun season. I think one of the neighbors up the road got him. But he was a giant.
Gun season is such a thing for me. Like I just have these mixed emotions about it.
I love it.
I mean, I love doing it, right? The camaraderie of it all,
yeah.
But then you just know like all your target bucks are just dying everywhere.
Well, what were you first? A trophy buck hunter or a deer hunter?
I was a deer hunter. So
yeah,
I'm not really even a trophy buck hunter, man. Like I'm not. But I just like I want to kill a deer, and like there's people that would the deer that I target. A lot of people might be like, I wouldn't shoot that deer. Like if it's 3.5 years old, I'm going to kill it for the most part, and unless this year.
I've said it over and over again, and you're going to see it at some point. I was freaking ear to ear shooting that 6-pointer that I missed. I don't give a shit. I love it. I love it. The story behind that deer, I'll never forget it. It's not big. I don't give a shit how big it is. Joel Tetzloff sniffed that thing out of the woods the second after I put a vest on, which is a weird story. And there's some weird shit that goes into that.
You smelled it?
I was sleeping. It was Sunday, so we're going to head back. Before I shot, I was sleeping in the woods on this ridge. And Sunday, so I'm like, I don't really care. It's Sunday.
This is something out of Escanaba.
Maybe I'm going to shoot something. I had no hope. No hope.
Sleeping in the woods, turkey hunting. Like when you're turkey hunting, like turkey naps around noon or
they're the best.
Around noon, you wait till noon,
or
after I don't hear anything that first hour, I'm like, it's getting pretty comfy in here.
I pick trees. Like there might not be a turkey within 100 yards or 100 miles of where I'm at, but I'm like, that tree looks real comfy.
Real comfy, yeah.
Perfect lean back to
set
it.
a decoy up there, like they'll come here.
You're picking up couches, basically.
Yep.
No, so I'm sleeping. This deer, I hear twig snap. I open my eyes. There's a deer running right towards me. And I wake up. I'm like, oh, that's a buck. And it puts the brakes on. I'm like, no, buddy. You woke me up. I'm shooting you. Pull up the rifle. I'm on like the slant, so I just have to put up one knee real quick, and I settle in, all blurry-eyed from sleeping. Probably got a crusty in there. Let a round off. I'm like, I don't know if I hit it. Let another round off. I don't know if I hit it. Another round off. What the hell? At this point, he's like over 100 yards away, running the opposite direction. I know the area really well. I know where he's going. And then Joel's brother, who I'm not going to name because he would rather not be talked about ever. He meets me.
Okay.
He's like, is that you shooting? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I heard something. And then this other hunter like shows up. So at this point, it was just this perfect cocktail of like confusion that led us to believe that maybe someone else shot the deer. And then that's why they were there. We never talked to this other guy. And then we could never figure where the deer went. We couldn't find the blood. It was far enough away that I couldn't get on the blood trail appropriately. Mm-hmm. And then I saw my buddy's brother, and he's like, I'm like, there's no way you didn't see what happened based on where you're sitting. So like, I'm using him as like a hard fact of like, if it didn't go this way, then it didn't go this way.
Yeah.
It must have went that way. And there's another guy over there. So like, clearly he had something to do with the situation, this debacle. So we give up. And I go back to the truck and I'm like, well, putting on my clothes, I put on my vest. And there's this rule in our deer camp now that if you're wearing a vest, you'll get a deer. Doesn't matter what vest, you got to have a vest. And everyone that had a vest on that season got a deer. Everyone that didn't. Exactly. So
and from that day.
So it's a tradition. So I put on my vest. Not 2 seconds later, Joel calls me. Hey, I found your deer. I'm like, you did? He's like, get your ass over here. I found your deer. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I smelled a deer because he's all rutted up. And so you know what it smells like, right?
Dude, I think
that musty
deer
smell.
I can smell too.
Well, but it wasn't like a gut shot or anything. So then he's like, oh yeah, I smell deer. So he's like, and he's the kind of guy, he'll kill a buck and he'll take the scent glands and rub it all over himself. Mm-hmm. And like, he's actually gotten charged by a buck before by doing this. Like he's a pretty wild guy. He's like you, actually, short and like intense and can get shit done
right away with the short shit.
Well, I just mean short because like, how did someone that short move that fast? Like, it's a lot of strides, Anyway,
those legs move faster.
Yeah, he's also got some weird thumbs. He can like climb weird trees and stuff. His thumb is like bent all the way backwards.
Like cheetah thumbs, huh?
Yeah. Anyway, so he calls me up. We go over there, and he's like, "Well,
bring him in." He's like, I don't know how that makes you climb a tree better.
I don't know. You got to see him do it. So then he's like, well, I smelled the deer, and all of a sudden I get into hunt mode again. Because he's on his way out of the woods to come back to the truck, and then he's like, oh, there's a deer. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's a buck. Just bet it down. And he's like, well, then I see white. He's like, wow, I see the white belly. He's like, that's not right.
No. And
he's like, wait a second, that's a dead deer. He goes, oh, that's Eric's deer. So he loves to gut deer. So anytime I'm with him, like, I don't even have to ask. He's like, can I gut it? I'm like, yeah, you can gut my deer for me. Like, please save me the effort. And he'll do it in like 2 seconds. He once had a razor blade in his wallet because he forgot his knife. That's not why he had the razor blade.
Why did he have the razor blade?
Why
did he have the razor blade?
For another day.
Don't worry.
And he got a 2 deer with a razor blade. I'm like, because this guy, he's also a former Marine. He's just he's a hardcore dude. So he gets the deer and he digs out all 3 freaking bullets. He's like, these are your shells. These are your bullets. You got them all 3 times. He died way back there. You're good. You killed it. You guys are just idiots, and you got confused and just went all around the deer. Never got the deer.
Possibly true.
So that's the deer. That's what I'm saying. So like the size of that deer doesn't matter. That's the story. Look how much conversation just came from a 7-point. Is that a 7-pointer? I don't even know what that is. I think it's 7.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Small 7-point public land gun deer, Yeah. Just creating stories. And then that was the first deer I ever earmarked out of myself. I buried it in the ground. And then Jeff Genke, our buddy, came over and helped me like get it all finished up. Now it used to look real nice until
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't look like
And then I actually flat white painted it.
Oh.
And then I used some wood stain on the antlers to bring it back to life a while back.
Sure.
Because that was Jeff told me to do that. And but then the kids dropped this thing like 100 times. So now the front of it's all goofed up. It used to look cooler. So but that's on that's one of the big 8s, right? The hang up.
Yeah, man.
So
Wicked North.
Now Wicked North is in here holding up my story.
Those are awesome things. I mean, I
need some of these.
Yeah,
I've got one.
We can help.
I gotta get a couple.
We'll help you out with that. I found dude, I don't know what they're statutes of limitations are on this.
Oh,
I'm already interested.
Do we got to get a lawyer in here?
Yeah. I mean, it was a long, long time ago.
Okay, so that counts for nothing.
Your grandfathered into
I
whatever
think
this
so.
may be.
And I was in a state that was out west, and I found a deadhead, basically giant mule deer, like huge. Same thing, but sun rot. Like the sun bleached it completely. Like the skull was great, but the antlers were all bad,
They're all
right?
Cracked and weathered. Yeah.
So naturally, I'm not letting that sit there. I'm taking it because it's giant. So I took it back and I'm like, talk to the taxidermist. I'm like, hey, can you make just put some stain or whatever? And he's like, oh yeah. So he stained it, dude. It looks like immaculate. It's like the centerpiece sometimes. Like I have it. Like I had it literally in my basement, just signed up. And same thing, kid broke it. But it was gorgeous. And everyone would be like, holy crap, where'd you get that? I'm like, well, somewhere out west. Because I actually didn't even know. I like rode back with it all proud. Like it was hanging halfway out the truck. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We don't even think about it necessarily.
I didn't even think about it.
Cool find.
I literally I honestly was telling the story to a friend of mine who lived in that particular state, to be unnamed. And he's like, dude, you can't do that.
You're like, what are you talking about?
What do you mean I can't do that?
Just selling your heart drops a little bit.
He's like, yeah, you can't take deadheads out without I'm like, well,
Whoops.
Did I say this thing? I actually meant
a friend of mine.
Yeah,
it wasn't the whole dead head. It was just
I mean, the thing was,
some of the antlers were eaten up a little bit.
It was obviously there for at least a year. Because, I mean, it was bleached out bad. But he restored it completely. Like, it looks awesome.
Derek does antler repair. If you're missing a tine or...
That's good to know.
I don't know.
Broken tines. I got like 4 or 5 in the basement right now. One of them's a huge deadhead. Guy found on the property. Probably 165-inch deer. Really sweet. Been out there for probably 3 or 4 years. I mean, there's chew marks everywhere.
Squirrels eating on it.
4 tines are gone.
And you can bring it back to life.
Rebuilding it, painting it, the whole 9 yards. I use oil paint, though. I used to use stain, but...
Too dark.
And you can't color match it. So if I do a tine on a guy's, I got to color match it. I got to mix it and match it.
You're matching that with oil paint?
Yeah.
Well, so look at what he's capable of.
Well, that's a pencil drawing. That's totally different.
Matter. He's an artist.
That's crazy.
He's an artiste.
So are you using turpentine to thin that out?
Yep.
And that doesn't eat into it or anything like that? Or?
Well, it'll eat into your base coat. So put it on your base coat and then let it dry basically. And then what I'm doing is I'm putting on blobs of the oil. Let it dry for a day, and then you just dry brush over it, and that gives you that. You know how the brown is not streaks of brown. It's it's sap rubbed into the pores, so that gives you that look pretty well.
Huh.
Well, the next one I find legally, I'll bring it over.
And make sure that one's tagged up, or whatever. I just don't want to possess it. But if your game warden buddy's listening to the show, I don't want to have it.
Mike, I'm joking.
Partially, but not.
Yeah. No, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man.
Yeah, anytime, man. I love it.
Yeah, hour and a half flew by pretty quick. Usually we release for an hour and we call it, but we just let it roll more. That's why I like doing them in studio. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm an hour away.
Cool.
Sweet.
Cool. Well, with that, I think everyone liked the music part. So thanks for tuning in. If you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a pity review. If you feel sorry for the lack of reviews we have, we could use more of those.
I'll review it.
Mainly because I've taled about this. I just like to hear what people have to say about it.
The guest was awesome.
The host, man. I tell you.
The host is an ass.
Yeah. iTunes is where it's at for the reviews. I don't think you can leave. You can rate it on Spotify. You can give a star review. And if you try to do it and you haven't listened, it won't let you. It'll say, whoa, you got to listen to this before you rate it.
Don't be
that's good.
So that's kind of cool. But with iTunes, if you leave a rating, the stars, we'll see those come through. And if it's a written review, it takes a couple of days for iTunes or Apple Podcasts to validate that.
Really?
They won't just let it through. So I'll see that there's something new happening, but I can't see it for another couple of days. And eventually it'll publish. And I send them to you guys when they come through because it's hey, people listen. They either like or don't like what we're doing. You haven't got a lot of negative ones.
My 4 followers will definitely leave a review for
Good.
me.
Because you're real active.
Check out the
I
OKS.
posted once a year, maybe.
No, that's good.
Check out
I'll just
Half-Rack,
text you pictures.
half-rack.com.
That's right.
OHP discount code. At some point, we'll be working.
Get a discount code. Next week, I'll have a discount code for you.
Perfect. Check out the OKS Fisher podcast. You can search that on iTunes and Spotify as of last night.
Oh, you're plugging that right away.
Hear what Greg has
No
to
pressure.
say. We'll officially make a big old announcement when I get our podcast.
Official.
I think it's
what you did
official.
there.
I think it's good.
I'm basically a professional ice fisherman now. I caught a northern through the ice
That's
last
pretty
week.
sweet.
You're pretty high. You got some credentials.
Yes,
Yeah, that's-
credited. First one in 10
You
years.
got out to the tip up without falling down. That's
No one
number
said
one.
that.
Oh, okay.
I slid in like, got to make the action.
Did anyone
hook slide.
yell tip up?
No,
Oh,
everyone
then
was
it
like,
doesn't
"Who's going to
count.
get that?" We're actually not really sure how long that flag had been up, to be honest.
Mike was just like, "Can someone
Mike's
catch me,
just laying
please?"
There, sleeping
Yeah.
on a minnow.
It didn't look all that healthy,
No.
but I did put it back and go with God.
Yeah.
That's great.
See you later, little friend.
I think you made it.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
Thanks for tuning in,
sure.
everybody. All right, I'm gonna roll this, mute us, and we'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.
I forgot to say.
You bring it back.
Yeah.
Bringing it back.
We're gonna
You
do
can-
it again.
I'll get you the booth number soon, but we're going to be at the Iowa Deer Classic the first week of March. We're going to be at the Wisconsin Dells Open Season Sportsman Show at the end of March. Greg, I have to give you the credit card to buy lumber so you can help build our booth. That's my official reminder.
Dude, Greg would have loved our booth at 8.
That's what he's going to model it after. That's
you're stealing the idea?
I swear to God. Not
Come on,
completely,
dude.
just the wood.
Eric wants him to steal.
No,
the
I'm like,
idea,
he
but
said this
Greg's
would be
gonna
easy.
do his own.
TJ
That's why
said
you
he
were
built that
taking
in
all
a
the
day.
pictures.
He's like,
Son of a.
100%.
Did he have a measuring tape?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, you want to make your job easier? Just call TJ.
There you go. All right, see you guys.
See ya.